Boldness is not the absence of fear. It is the revelation of who you truly are. Many people move through life uncertain, looking to circumstances or emotions to define their strength. But real boldness does not come from how you feel in a moment. It flows from a deep awareness of identity. When you know that the same power that shaped the universe abides within you, you stop shrinking before challenges and start standing in quiet authority. It is not about forcing courage or pretending to be fearless. It is about realizing that divine life has taken residence inside your being. You were never meant to live small, intimidated, or uncertain. You were created to represent strength, truth, and light in a world that desperately needs them. The secret to walking in true boldness is not in how loudly you speak or how confident you appear. It's in knowing what cannot be shaken inside you. You can face storms without trembling when you know you carry peace that cannot be stolen. You can walk into impossible situations with calm assurance because you are not depending on your own ability. Confidence in self can crumble, but confidence in truth stands unmovable. When you draw courage from who you are within, every circumstance becomes an opportunity to display the strength of that inner reality. The world teaches that boldness comes from self-belief, from pushing harder, proving yourself, and standing tall through sheer will. But there is a boldness far greater, the one that flows from inner conviction, not ego. When you are aware that the divine presence walks with you, you no longer compete with the world. You simply express what already is. You don't need to demand respect. Your spirit commands it through quiet authority. You don't need to chase validation. Your worth is already established. That is the kind of boldness that cannot be imitated or faked. It is calm, steady, and full of peace. True boldness does not seek to dominate others. It seeks to lift them. It doesn't roar to be heard. It speaks truth because it knows truth cannot fail. It does not fear rejection because it is rooted in acceptance from a higher source. Such boldness transforms how you see yourself and how you move through life. You begin to walk with your head lifted, not in arrogance, but in assurance. You begin to act with conviction, not hesitation. The limitations that once defined you start to lose their power because your confidence no longer depends on them. When you understand your identity, fear becomes powerless. Fear only thrives in uncertainty. It feeds on confusion about who you are and what you carry. But when clarity comes, fear loses its grip. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "I cannot be defeated because truth cannot fail." Every obstacle becomes a stage for strength, every setback a setup for revelation. The more you see yourself through the lens of truth, the less the opinions of others matter. The approval you once sought becomes irrelevant because you walk in alignment with purpose. Boldness is quiet power. It is the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout because it knows its authority. It moves with love, not aggression, with conviction, not pride. It is the assurance that even in uncertainty, you are guided, protected, and empowered. The storms may rage, but you remain unshaken because your foundation is unbreakable. When you walk in that awareness, you stop living like a victim of circumstances and start living as a victor over them. To walk in true boldness is to walk in truth. It is to live from the inside out, not the outside in. The world around you may change, people may doubt you, situations may shake you, but the one who knows who they are cannot be moved. Boldness born from identity will always outlast the noise of fear. It does not depend on the absence of difficulty, but on the presence of certainty. The certainty that you were never meant to shrink before the darkness, but to stand as light in the midst of it. Boldness is powerful, but without discernment, it can easily turn into recklessness. The world is filled with noise. Voices claiming to offer truth, paths that promise success, and emotions that demand your response. In such a world, discernment becomes your anchor. It is the quiet, inner knowing that keeps you steady when everything around you tries to pull you in 100 directions. It is the light within that separates the real from the illusion, the lasting from the temporary. You can be bold and fearless, but if your steps are not guided by discernment, you risk running confidently in the wrong direction. Discernment is not suspicion or judgment, it is clarity. It is the ability to see beyond what the eyes perceive, to sense the difference between what looks right and what is right. In times when appearances deceive and truth is often wrapped in disguise, discernment allows you to move wisely, not blindly. Many are driven by impulse, reacting to every situation that stirs their emotions. But the one who walks with discernment doesn't rush. They listen before they speak, observe before they act, and test before they trust. This inner wisdom becomes a shield against deception, a compass in confusion, and a silent strength in chaos. The bold without discernment may act quickly, but they often stumble. The discerning without boldness may see clearly, but they hesitate and never move. Balance is power. Courage guided by wisdom, and wisdom expressed through courage. When both meet, your life moves with divine precision. You no longer waste energy on distractions or chase every opportunity that looks good. You begin to recognize that not everything that shines is gold. Not every open door leads to destiny, and not every loud voice speaks truth. Discernment is developed through stillness, not noise. The world will try to rush you, to pressure you into decisions, to make you respond immediately. But discernment grows in quiet reflection, in listening deeply to the still, steady whisper of truth within. It teaches you patience, the kind that waits not out of fear, but out of confidence that the right path will reveal itself. When you are guided by discernment, you stop reacting to life and start responding with purpose. Every choice becomes intentional, every step measured, every word spoken with weight. There are moments when boldness will call you to act, but discernment will tell you when to act. There will be times when courage will demand you to speak, but discernment will give you what to say. In dark times, this balance becomes essential. The world is filled with deception dressed as wisdom, pride disguised as strength, and flattery posing as friendship. Without discernment, boldness can be manipulated. With it, you see through the fog. You recognize motives, sense danger before it appears, and perceive truth even when it whispers. Discernment protects your destiny. It keeps your boldness focused on what truly matters. It prevents you from wasting time fighting battles that are not yours or pursuing paths that lead nowhere. It sharpens your perception so that you can tell the difference between opportunity and distraction, between what feels urgent and what is truly important. When you walk in discernment, you begin to see life through a higher lens, one that values peace over popularity, truth over comfort, purpose over applause. True strength is not just in acting boldly, but in knowing when not to act. It is not only in speaking truth, but in knowing when silence speaks louder. Discernment gives depth to boldness, transforming raw courage into purposeful movement. The one who possesses it is not easily deceived, not easily swayed, and not easily broken. In a world where so many run without direction, discernment allows you to walk with clarity. It gives your boldness vision. It turns your passion into purpose and your confidence into power. When you move with both boldness and discernment, you become unstoppable. Not because you rush ahead of others, but because every step you take is aligned with truth. Fear is the silent thief of destiny. It whispers lies into the mind, magnifies the impossible, and convinces you to stay small when you were created to live large. It tells you that you are not ready, not worthy, not enough. But faith speaks a different language. The language of certainty in unseen power, the language of quiet trust, When nothing around you makes sense, fear focuses on the storm. Faith sees the calm beyond it. Fear looks at what could go wrong. Faith sees what is already made right. Fear imprisons, but faith releases. The moment you choose faith over fear, you shift from surviving life to shaping it. Faith is not denial of reality. It is the refusal to be controlled by it. It looks at the same mountains, the same obstacles, the same impossibilities, and says, "I will not be moved." Fear builds its case on what can be seen, but faith draws its strength from what cannot be shaken. When you walk by faith, you no longer depend on circumstances to confirm your confidence. You know that truth does not need visible proof to exist. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because you realize that the power within you creates them. Fear waits for assurance. Faith acts as if it already has it. Every person faces moments when fear tries to rule. When the path ahead looks uncertain, when the future feels heavy, when doubts press against the heart. But in those very moments, faith must rise. Faith is the inner decision to believe that light will find a way even in complete darkness. It is the voice that says, "I am not alone. I am guided. I am enough." It does not remove the challenge, but it transforms your posture in it. You may still walk through the storm, but you walk with peace instead of panic, with confidence instead of confusion. Fear thrives in the absence of truth. It feeds on lies about your worth, your potential, and your purpose. But the moment you remember who you are, fear begins to crumble. It cannot coexist with revelation. When you understand that you carry limitless power within, every limitation loses its authority. Fear may still knock, but it no longer enters. Faith becomes the gatekeeper of your mind, allowing only thoughts that build, strengthen, and elevate. Every time you choose faith over fear, your spirit grows stronger, your vision clearer, and your life freer. Faith does not shout, it stands. It does not always see the entire path. It simply takes the next step. It moves in obedience, even when logic disagrees. Fear calculates, faith acts. Fear hesitates, faith moves. Fear says, "What if I fail?" Faith answers, "Even if I fall, I rise stronger." It is not reckless, it is rooted. It draws its courage not from emotion, but from conviction. The world may tremble, circumstances may shift, but the heart anchored in faith remains unshaken. To live by faith is to live above the noise. It is to trust that there is purpose in the waiting, strength in the struggle, and victory already written into your story. Every challenge becomes an invitation to prove that truth is greater than fear. Every delay becomes an opportunity to build endurance. Every disappointment becomes a lesson in resilience. Faith transforms pain into power and setbacks into setups. When fear comes knocking, let faith answer. When doubt tries to speak, let confidence silence it. When the world grows dark, let your trust shine brighter. Faith is not a feeling. It is a choice made over and over again, until it becomes your nature. It is the decision to believe in the unseen, even when the seen contradicts it. The one who lives by faith does not merely survive the storm. They dance through it, knowing that no wind can extinguish the flame burning within. Fear will always try to return. But every time you choose faith, it finds no home. You rise stronger, see clearer, and walk freer. And soon, fear becomes the shadow behind you, only visible when you turn away from the light. Keep walking forward. Keep believing. The light within you is far greater than any darkness around you. You were never created to blend into the darkness of the world. You were made to illuminate it. Light does not fight with darkness. It simply shines, and darkness disappears. The same principle is true for you. When you recognize the light that lives within you, you stop struggling to fit in with the world and start standing as a beacon for it. The world may be filled with confusion, fear, and deception, but light is never intimidated by darkness. It only reveals it. Every act of truth, every step of love, every decision rooted in integrity becomes a spark that pierces the gloom. To walk as light is to live from a higher awareness. It means understanding that you carry something eternal, something greater than circumstance or opinion. You are not just surviving through dark times, you are shining through them. The light within you was not given to be hidden behind fear or silence. It was placed there to be seen, to guide others who have forgotten that they too carry the same spark. When you walk in truth and love, you remind others of their own power, their own purpose, and their own light. Darkness thrives on conformity. It wants you to doubt your voice, to dim your brightness, to compromise your values for acceptance. But the light within cannot be extinguished unless you choose to hide it. Every time you stand for what is right, even when it's unpopular, your light grows stronger. Every time you speak hope in the face of despair, you push back the boundaries of fear. The world may not always celebrate your light, but it cannot ignore it. True brightness doesn't need permission to shine, it simply does. Being a light in dark times is not about perfection, it's about authenticity. It's about living with such truth and compassion that even your silence speaks. You don't need to be loud to be radiant. You just need to be real. Light reveals. It exposes what's hidden, not to condemn but to heal. It shows the way forward, even when the road seems invisible. Sometimes your strength, your kindness, your endurance becomes the very light someone else needs to see to believe that hope still exists. There will be moments when the darkness feels overwhelming, when everything around you seems broken, when people lose faith, and the world feels cold. But remember, it is in the darkest night that light shines the brightest. Your courage to keep believing, your refusal to quit, your determination to walk in love when it's easier to hate. That's what sets you apart. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more light. It needs people who live with such conviction that their very presence brings peace to others. To be light means to be consistent. It's easy to shine when everything is easy, but the true test of your light is when nothing around you supports it. When you can stay kind in cruelty, patient in pressure, and hopeful in hardship, you embody the essence of light. You become a living reminder that goodness is stronger than evil, that truth still matters, and that love still wins. Light doesn't argue with darkness. It simply continues to shine until the darkness is gone. Every word you speak with love, every act you do with sincerity, every moment you choose faith over fear, all of it adds to the brilliance of your light. You may not see the difference immediately, but light always leaves its mark. It heals, it inspires, it guides. When you walk as light, your life becomes a message, not through what you say, but through what you are. People may forget your words, but they will never forget how your presence made them feel. So keep shining, even when the world doesn't understand you. Keep walking in truth, even when it costs you something. Keep radiating peace, even when chaos surrounds you. The light within you is not fragile, it is eternal, and no amount of darkness can overcome it. You were born for such a time as this, to stand, to shine, and to remind the world that even when everything seems lost, light still wins. The world may tremble beneath the weight of uncertainty, but those who walk in boldness, discernment, faith, and light do not fall. They are the steady ones, unshaken, unafraid, and unbroken. They do not draw their strength from the world, but from the truth that lives within them. While others see chaos, they see opportunity. While others retreat, they rise. Darkness may press in from every side, but it cannot conquer a heart illuminated by conviction. Every step of faith becomes a declaration that hope still reigns. Every act of courage becomes a reminder that purpose is stronger than fear. The times may be dark, but they are not hopeless. They are simply the stage upon which true light is revealed. So walk with confidence. Live with clarity, stand with courage, and let the world see through you that even in its darkest hour, the light still shines, and it shines through those who refuse to bow to the shadows.